is Teresa Johnson, campus correspondent for Vader TV, and today I'm here in San Mateo at Apture's headquarters to interview CEO Tristan Harris about his recent launch. Let's take a look inside.
Hi.
Hi, Tristan.
Good to see you.
Thanks for meeting with us today.
It's really more of a coin name, but it's related to the ideas of capturing the world's multimedia into your web page, and also the idea of an aperture, which is a lens opening and closing to sort of quickly display a piece of content like a window inside of Apture. I think Sphere is doing something very different from what Apture is doing. We set out to say that right now the web is flat. Right, the web is flat pieces of paper, flat web pages connected by links to more flat web pages. And we've got the richest communication medium we've ever had, richer than anything we've ever had. And for the first time, we can actually build something that takes advantage of that medium. Right? So Apture is about saying, why flat pieces of paper? Why web pages when we can build something that's more layered, more experiential, more interactive? Sphere, I think Sphere is more about having related content that's automatically generated so that if you're reading an article, you can find more information elsewhere. And you have to go to those pages. Apture is something really different. It's about changing the experience of a web page. This web page itself could be richer. And no one else is really doing that. That we can actually bring the relevant context and background material and multimedia that you want to see right here in this web page. And it's much more valuable to see it here than if you were to see it individually while running across it on YouTube or Wikipedia. Right? Well, I think that the biggest difference about Apture is a lot of people are building destination sites with some sort of rich content. Right? They're trying to say, come to our website because we can offer you something cool. We're trying to say the whole web should be that rich, not just my own little silo, not just my publisher's website, not just my blog. The whole web deserves to be that rich. So all these content providers are providing this rich library of multimedia that I can incorporate on my page. But there's no really easy way to do that right now. So what Apture does is it allows anyone, whether it's a blog, it's a help documentation site, Newsweek or Washington Post, integrate content from external sources and bring it into their pages to provide that rich experience. And the key thing about it is that Apture actually doesn't require any client downloads, right? So no one has to download a Firefox plugin. It just works. All the publisher does is they include one line of code on their web page, and the whole Apture experience is enabled. And that's a really revolutionary thing. There's nothing that's been around that's allowed people to publish without the need for a browser plugin before. Yeah, I think we want to make Apture a standard web feature, right? We're trying to say that there's something between a flat web page and clicking a link and going to another flat web page and then having to click the back button. There's something in between that. When you're trying to browse information in the real world, right? The thing that makes most intuitive sense is not, oh, here's a piece of information now hold on a second, let me get you this other piece. Now read this article. Now let me get you this other page, right? That doesn't really make sense. What makes sense is, I want to know more about that. Show me a little, oh, there it is. Okay, I got that information. Now I want to know a little bit more about this same thing I just saw. And I want to know a little bit more. So we're really building the web the way it was meant to be experienced. And we're not trying to build a one-off service. We're trying to say the web should just work like this. That's our goal as a company, is that we want to make the web as rich as it possibly can be, that it's capable of being, without compromising the underlying content of the page and allowing everybody to do this in this rich way. Yeah, so today, we announced yesterday that the Washington Post is launching this on two of their most popular blogs, The Fix and Celebritology, and they're planning on rolling out across the site, over time, but it takes some time to do that. We've got several other publishers in the pipeline, and the Washington Post is basically our first. The revenue model is based upon sharing the advertising that's made. So Apture is generating a new set of advertising for every web page, and of that share, we just ask for a share in the revenue. Right. Well, so Apture, we're giving away Apture for free to any blog who wants to use Apture. We think it's as valuable to a blogger as it is to the Washington Post or any major publisher. Mm-hmm. So we work with major publishers on this advertising revenue split, and then with bloggers we give it away for free because we say, there's a lot of information to be gathered from how people are linking information together, and the richer storytelling that we can offer a blogger, whether they're in Iran or they're here or they're in Peru, we think that's really powerful. We think that Apture is going to have this democratizing effect on how people can communicate in a rich way that doesn't require you to understand really complicated tools. It's a really user-friendly interface, point and click to link the multimedia together. We're starting today with Washington Post sharing revenue on advertising that we're helping them deliver. Right? Mm-hmm. In the future, we've got all sorts of other opportunities for what we're trying to do. We have a really broad sort of net that we're casting down the line in terms of revenue opportunities, some of which I really can't talk about. I mean, I think there's a lot of growth in the advertising industry still, and I think that I'll put it this way. Today, if you assume web pages are flat, right, you can only fit so many pieces of content, so much text, and so much advertising on a single page. But if you assume the web is multidimensional, and you have so many layers in which you can expose rich multimedia, right, and content and advertising, then you're opening up whole new areas of inventory for both the publisher and for the reader to expose them to, interesting, relevant material or advertising as well. I think, it's funny. I think in a large part it comes down to your own impetus and your own willingness to try. Like, I think people often cut themselves short on what they're capable of. It's funny because if I didn't start this company, I could have very easily just been an intern at another company. I mean, intern versus running your own thing, doing your own thing, trying to change the world. And I think this is so exciting about entrepreneurship is the idea that, and doing this and proving that we can actually get there. We've got a partner, we've got the Washington Post, we're building this really incredible new thing, and all that really took was a decision to say, we're gonna try this, we're gonna do this. And the hardest part about it was making the decision. And once you make it, it's so much easier. But it's that worrying that you can't do it. I mean, you're never going to be at a situation before you do something where you think something that appears very, very difficult. You're never going to be in a situation where, oh yeah, I can do that. Everything seems really hard. And it's only in the situation where you fail or you at least try that it seems possible. So I sort of believe that you can't trust any of the limits that are in the world except the ones you find in your own. And this was really one way to do that. Why get an accredited degree when you've already got an idea for how you can make the world better right now? Why not just pursue it? I don't know. I think there's so few lessons. You just got to go for it. It's all internalized knowledge. I used to be a Mayfield fellow. I used to be a student of entrepreneurship. I used to study this stuff. And the most commonly asked questions of people who had made it from me and from my friends was, how did you do this? What was the most important lesson you learned? You can't learn it that way. You just got to just do it. When we started, the first year was just about exploring the idea and coming up with the right set of ideas and making sure they were really grounded, that we'd battle tested it, that it didn't fall apart with different criticism. And then actually doing it is just like, okay, you've got to raise money. How are you going to do that? I don't know. Start talking to people. Start talking to your friends. Start looking for contacts who know folks in Silicon Valley. It definitely helps to be at Stanford in an environment where everyone's connected to someone, and usually investors and folks with experience and guidance are not too far away. That was one of the hard things. Actually, what was surprisingly easier than we thought was actually finding help, finding investment. I think also once you spent that first year developing the idea and you're grounded in your idea, it's much easier to actually find an investor who's going to do it. I think it's funny when I started this, I said, oh, I don't know how to set up a payroll. I don't know how to find office space. I don't know how to set up a healthcare plan. Those things are exciting too, but they're really not that exciting. I mean, when you actually do it, I mean, people who want to be an entrepreneur and they want to learn how to do all these things, everything seems exciting. The mundane stuff is really not that exciting. The exciting stuff is hiring people, is raising money, is trying to convince publishers and customers to sign on, getting people excited about it. That's the hardest stuff, and you can't really learn it from telling someone some lesson. I think it's just experience and just doing it.